Welcome to the Central School of English Stage 6 video series. In this video, we will practice making tail questions. We use tail questions when we say something and we want someone to agree that we are correct. For example, I might say, "This is an orange, isn't it?" In this example, I make a statement. I say, "This is an orange." Now, I want you to agree with me that this is an orange, so I add the tail question, "Isn't it?" When we make a statement that has an auxiliary verb, we must repeat the auxiliary verb in our tail question. For example, "You are John, aren't you?" In this example, I make a positive statement using the auxiliary verb to be. I say, "You are John." I repeat the auxiliary verb to be. Because the statement is positive, I use a negative form of the auxiliary verb in my tail question. When we make a negative statement, the auxiliary verb in the tail question must be positive. For example, "Mary isn't at school, is she?" In this example, I use a negative of the auxiliary verb to be in my statement. For this reason, I use a positive form of the verb to be in my tail question. In English, we can make sentences using both primary and modal auxiliary verbs. The primary auxiliary verbs are be, do, and have. The modal auxiliary verbs include the verbs will, should, must, and can. Here are some examples of tail questions with auxiliary verbs. Remember, if the sentence is positive, the tail question will be negative, and if the sentence is negative, the tail question will be positive. "You have a cat, haven't you?" "He has a brother, hasn't he?" "She will help you, won't she?" They will go now, won't they? In these first four examples, we can see that the statement was positive, therefore the tail question was negative. "You can't speak English, can you?" "He shouldn't eat that, should he?" "John mustn't work now, must he?" In this group of examples, the statement was negative, so the auxiliary in the tail question was positive. Here are some examples of tail questions in the past. "The bus was early, wasn't it?" "Jason and Sue were in work, weren't they?" "He wasn't there last night, was he?" "They couldn't help you, could they?" "They could play here, couldn't they?" If we want to make a tail question using a main verb, we must use the auxiliary verb do in our tail question. For example, "You play piano, don't you?" "She works in a factory, doesn't she?" "Mike drives a car, doesn't he?" "He doesn't eat ice cream, does he?" "They didn't break it, did they?" In this video, we have learned how to use tail questions in English. We learned that we use tail questions when we make a statement and we want someone to agree that we are correct. We learned that when we say a positive statement, the tail question is negative. And when we make a negative statement, the tail question is positive. We also learned that we must repeat the auxiliary verb used in the statement. Finally, we learned that with main verbs, we use the auxiliary verb do. This video was brought to you by the Central School of English, an English school in Dublin. For more lessons, visit centralschool.ie.